Good morning. Welcome back to GP Outdoors. Definitely the calm before the storm. It's time to batten down the hatches. They're forecasting a great big ice storm today. Apparently it's going to go all afternoon and right into tomorrow evening. 60, 70 kilometer an hour winds, all on ice storm, and it's supposed to be followed by some flurries. So we need to make sure we're prepared. I've got the rear blade prepped and ready, and it's off the ground, so it's not going to freeze in with the ice. And she's easily accessible for tomorrow. Sander's all ready to go. Did all the maintenance on it about a month ago. Everything's greased. I also installed the little prototype that Guy and I made to help stop the bridging issue with the sand if it gets wet. And as you know, I've got a fresh load of sand and salt for the driveway in case I need that sander. However, I'm not going to load anything on the tractor just yet, because depending on whether I'm going to need the sander or the rear blade or neither, maybe just the blower, will all depend on the weather that occurs after the storm passes through. For example, if the forecast is actually true and correct, we're going to get rain, freezing rain, for about 24 to 30 hours, and it's supposed to turn into flurries. If the temperature stays really cold, below zero, that snow will probably remain crisp and hard, which is good for traction. Won't need to put any sand on it, and I'll probably just be able to get away with using the blower. That way I can leave 1 or 2 inches of snow, crusty snow on top of the ice that forms. However, if the temperature actually rises and starts to get warm, that snow that falls after that freeze is going to start turning really sugary or possibly slushy, which means I really need to scrape it right down and I need to throw some sand and salt on it. So right now, the best defense is just to make sure everything is ready and accessible. And then we'll decide after the storm passes through what the best way to attack that driveway is. Yep, broken shear pin. Did it on the last video, just after I turned off the cameras. I learned pretty quick on the first winter I had this tractor that it's kind of helpful to carry a couple of spare shear pins as well as the tools you need in your toolbox on the tractor. You get about, 1 kilometer up the road, break a shear pin, you've got to come all the way back to the cottage or back to the shed here, change it out and go all the way back up and continue. And it's pretty simple to change out these shear pins. So it's kind of nice to keep them handy as well as the tools. That way you can change them on the fly. It literally only takes a couple of minutes. Carry my socket as well as the right size wrench. I've got my shear pin, and I also carry a punch because the punch will help you in the event that the bolt breaks but doesn't actually come out. Lining up the hole can always be a bit of a challenge. So I'm just going to use my punch. I know roughly, hopefully, where that hole should be. You can also tell there's a wear mark. So generally speaking, that should line up. The hole should be somewhere along this area right here. And it is right there. I think the rest of the bolt is inside. Alrighty, I'm ice storm ready. I'll see you in about 24 hours on the driveway. Cheers. As usual, the weatherman wasn't totally wrong, but he certainly wasn't right. We did get a ton of freezing rain, but it certainly didn't last 26 to 30 hours like they said. It did cause a lot of havoc though, and it's definitely caused a little bit of a challenge for me to get out of here today. For those folks that are interested, this is what bridging looks like inside your tub. If you guys remember last year, we made a prototype with these chains to help break down the bridging. It works really well. I mean, it's not consistent as I mentioned, but it's certainly a lot better than before with no prototype in there with the chains, because basically the bottom there scrapes, all of this bridging sits here and no sand comes out. So it's certainly 100% improvement. Every once in a while I do shake the tub, but basically it does its job, this thing with the chains. It always has some kind of flow coming out, even if it's not as much as I want. I also think I'm going to start experimenting with these two gates. I have two openings on both sides of this tub, and I've noticed quite often that I get a lot of sand and salt getting thrown off into the side of the driveway into the forest. So I'm going to start playing with these, undo the levers, and maybe next time out I'm going to see what it's like just using the left or the right. Maybe that'll help. A few folks had suggested that I see if Guy will weld up a couple of little diffusers here to help focus the sand in behind. We might try that too this winter. But hey, at the end of the day, the most important thing for me today is to get up that steep hill. I took the tractor extra slow and I dumped extra sand on it because I could feel all the ice underneath and I could see the chains digging in really well. Not to mention the fact that I got a 16-foot trailer I got to haul up on the back of that pickup coming up that hill. Hopefully I've done the job, and we'll find out in about an hour. Well, I hope you folks certainly enjoyed the views today, and thanks so much for sticking around. If you like the channel, please click subscribe, hit that like button, and if you want to know when I'm posting more videos, just click that little bell. Have a wonderful week with your families. I'll see you again on the next one. Cheers.